I finally watched Walt Disney Pictures' first animated feature film to be released theatrically, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This film tells a story about Snow White running into the woods to be taken care of by a group of dwarves while the evil queen is trying to hunt her down. I had no idea why I never thought about going to go check this particular film out, especially with the history it has and the cultural significance it has to not just filmmaking in general, but to Walt Disney Pictures as a company, being their first feature-length animated film theatrically, and what paved the way for this company to start making films like Pinocchio, Cinderella, Robin Hood, Jungle Book, Lion King, and then on. Like, this is where it all really started. I mean, we got like shorts like Steamboat Willie beforehand and a few Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy stuff, but in terms of theatrical distribution, this is where it all began, and this is where Walt Disney's passions lied in. And after watching it for the first time, I have to say, I think over 80 years, over 85 at this point, this movie still somehow holds up really well. Now, it's not perfect in my opinion, and I have a few issues here and there, but for the most part, I thought this was a really charming movie with really innovative animation for the time it came out, and that really did impress me. Like, it looked like something that could have come out in the 1950s by the way this film is animated, and how it looks just was beautiful. I love the artwork behind every single character, the way the environment looks, the way the castle is designed, and how gritty and grindy it all looks, while the outside of everything else around the castle is peaceful and blissful, like something out of a water painting. And how the characters are designed as well, very cartoony, but has an air of sweetness to it that makes you feel engrossed into this world. Like, all in all, the production design and the art design and character designs just all worked beautifully, and it all fits very well. Nothing felt out of place, or any designs feel out too cartoonish or too realistic. It all felt just right. And the story itself is really simple too, and I think by the runtime of this film, I think it fits perfectly with this kind of story, and nothing felt like it was drawn out too much or too little was taken back. Well, almost. I'll get to some of my problems later on, but for the most part, I think the pacing was really well done, and the runtime was perfect for this kind of story. It is just about a girl who has to leave her old life to make sure she is safe, and because Snow White is supposed to be a character that is the fairest of them all, she is a character that has such an air of sweetness and has such a compassionate heart that it would even make Goku jealous. She is able to bring the best out of the people around her, and not just that, but the animals as well, and has sort of a motherly type of way of doing things and how she reciprocates her admiration towards other people that I really did find endearing to her character. And so when she does finally meet the Seven Dwarfs, who are all really entertaining, and I love their dynamics throughout the film, it creates a sense of found family that I really love seeing developed as the film goes on. Having these characters learn how to properly wash dishes as they sing along together in harmony, or trying to reciprocate their love and fondness for Snow White with a dance. It is just all really sweet stuff to watch, and I think it serves as a good moral lesson for girls when they eventually have to grow up and become mothers themselves. This is a good movie for them to understand how to give compassion back to those around them. As for the evil queen herself, she serves as a really good antagonist. And while she is not the most active of all the Disney villains, she just mostly sits back in her castle and orders things around until she has to take things up into her own hands and become an old hag to try and kill Snow White and trick her into eating the poison apple. I really did feel for her anger, and I really did feel this aura of evilness that the voice actress is giving out to this character. You understand her motivation, why she's doing what she's doing, and there's no tragic backstory or any over-the-top sequence of her killing someone or trying to make a point. She just does what she needs to do at a certain moment, and it isn't until later in the film where she lets out a more evil side to her that is really fun to watch when she becomes this old lady. Now, as I said, I don't think this film is entirely perfect. For one, the prince of the film. He does have a purpose to the story, and he doesn't need to be in a whole lot of the film, but as a character who does serve a big purpose by the end, him getting as little screen time as he does feels a little bit wrong in my opinion. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of his character, because for the most part, he basically is a plot device to just be a motivation for Snow White's character, and I feel like they could have made him flesh out a little bit more, but the runtime just doesn't allow for that kind of time. Not that it needs to be the main focus, it doesn't, but a little bit more with the prince could have been welcome to make the ending have a little bit more of a punch between these two characters. And there are some audio and technical problems here due to the time this film came out that just made it a bit jarring, and you could tell that they were first time filmmakers and trying to make such an ambitious movie that a few problems here and there in the way characters transition to certain scenes or into a scene, or how the audio sounds, that just doesn't always feel fluent or right. But those problems are so minimal, and even if they are like extreme problems, you have to understand this is the 1930s. Everyone is still trying to test the waters and trying to do their best to make the best technology that they can. The fact that the dialogue is still as audible as it is and as clear as it is a testament to how talented these filmmakers are in trying to make sure the audio and technical quality is there. The colors pop out and are vivid and beautiful, and how they're able to do all these animated techniques the way they could during this time was just really impressive. So it's not that big of a deal. It's just an interesting note for you to understand that this came out at a very old time where filmmakers are trying to have animation be viewed as legitimate art. And this film is legitimate art. It is a wonderful story. All the musical segments in which the characters are singing are still impactful to this day and will always have a special place in the realm of Disney animation, and not just animation in general, but musicals in general. All the songs have a really fun and sweet tune to them. Hi ho, hi ho. I mean, there's no villain song, but honestly there doesn't need to. Whistle While You Work or in Hi Ho, or whenever Snow White sings about the prince. I'm sorry, I don't know what that song is called. I should have looked it up. But all the songs worked very well and fit the tone and vibe of this film. All in all, while there are a few technical problems due to the time of its release and the prince being a bit underutilized, I still think as a first feature film for Disney animation, Snow White is a major success. And films like Pinocchio and Cinderella, and then Sword and Stone or Jungle Book or any of the Disney Renaissance films, none of that would have happened if this movie wasn't as successful as it is. I wouldn't have even gotten one of my cherished animated films back when I was a kid, Bambi, if this movie wasn't a success. So, despite all of its problems, this movie, I still think, for the most part, holds up extremely well to this day. And if you are a Disney fan or a fan of animation in general, and you haven't seen this film, what are you doing? Go check this out. It is an important piece of history, especially for Disney and for filmmaking in general. I'm going to give Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and time to be upset by the remake.